2025 football season is nearly here, and it's time to hear from all the coaches and players.
Yeah, boy!
This is Mountain West Conference Media Day coverage. Live from Las Vegas, Media Day coverage on The Zone is brought to you by Window World. Call Window World for free quotes on windows, doors, and siding today. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hans Olsen, Scott Gerard, let's get it, folks. Hope you're all having a tremendous day. It is day 2 of the Mountain West Conference Tournament.
I've got my hanky here in my pocket to dry off the tears of our final day of Mountain West Conference Media Days.
I know,
this
right?
Is it.
This is it.
We'll never do this again. Now we'll be back with Utah State in the new Pac-12, and we'll be repping the Pac-12 brands. You don't even have to take your Pac-12 sticker off your car, Scott.
I know, right? I still have it left
holds
over. Yeah.
It holds over for Utah State as we enter into this new wilderness. But
how dare you?
I am going to miss the Mountain West Conference.
I am too. I miss the people. There's so many good people who run this conference that we've gotten very close with over the last 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
They're good people. And, you bump into the same people with Wyoming and Air Force. And I'm going to miss Troy Calhoun. I'm going to probably give him a hug. You need to video this. When the conversation ends.
Oh, I will.
I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to give him a hug. And I'm going to say, Troy, this is for all the years that we've spent together.
Yes.
Sharing our sports opinions.
Yes. Learning about what the cadets do at 5 o'clock in the morning.
How nobody can transfer.
Yes.
How you recruit. What
no
you do.
NIL.
Oh, man. I am going to miss it. But final day of Mountain West Conference Media Days, we are hoping that the Pac-12 comes back to Vegas because yesterday was, in totality, was an incredible day.
It was. There were some lulls. There was about a 15-minute lull.
A 15-minute point of beating and dismay.
I've never experienced, because usually the tables will kind of like give you a win here and there to make you feel good and keep you around for a little bit, and that did not happen.
It did not happen.
I got cleaned out in like 15 minutes.
It was brutal, and it was exhausting, and you said, I think that's it.
Yeah.
And
I was done.
You headed back to the room. I went in for more. I took a lot more abuse and pain, and then I found my way through, Scotty, and we got ourselves back.
Yeah. Well, sitting down and joining us.
Oh, jeez. Let me.
Let's not leave that line around. He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bronco Mendenhall. He is the head coach of the Utah State Aggies. Kind enough to join us. Hey, look.
Sorry, I was just working an NIL deal with Hans for this appearance on this show.
He's treating my money like I treated Taysom Hill's peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
We were doing an interview with Taysom, and Taysom set a big pack of peanut M&Ms in front of me.
Was it facing you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It really didn't matter. You would have turned it to face you, too, wouldn't you?
It's like, oh, look whose peanut M&Ms these are. But Lavelle had a habit of that. Anything that was on the table, it was Lavelle's. And Lavelle would take it and eat it.
Yeah.
Like you had to watch it.
It's just, that's what happens when you become a legend. It's part of the deal.
It's part of the deal.
Hey, how you holding up? How's the summer been for you?
I'm great.
It's never ended,
Has
right?
it been summer?
Yeah, I know, right?
What month is it? No, it's been great. Yeah, I love my team. They're working like crazy, hopeful, optimistic, really good leadership and alignment. So just been really fun. I've probably traveled less than ever, but it's been fun to be here more and love my team.
So I've talked to a lot of different coaches.
Uh-oh.
And no. It's good. I've talked to a lot of different coaches, and June has changed, Coach. And I talked to them, and I almost see this level of exhaustion in their face. These are great assistants that have been doing this for a lot of years, and there's exhaustion. Yeah. And I'm like, June used to be the time of relaxation.
Yeah, so it really is other than in season, it's the busiest month, which is crazy. And so the official visits, right, and the recruiting, as well as working out our own team and then getting ready for the season and your first 4 opponents, there's not enough time. And really, the model is shifting even more. So July is typically the time where the assistants have some time off. But it's interesting to think about that. So the season's approaching. It's a brand new team with a new roster. And workouts are happening. And so you'd think that you'd want the staff closer it gets to be ramping into. But really, if the coaches don't have some time off, there is not a renewal time that exists in the calendar now. And so the trade-off is, with the season approaching, the coaches need some point to just step away. So the timing is never ideal, but June now has exacerbated that and made it to where, put it this way, the calendar has to change. The current model is not sustainable. And the thing that will be the catalyst as to what the calendar will look like will be the transfer portal window. And it will go from 2 to 1. I'm almost certain, or it needs to. Where that is placed will then set the cascade effect of then what the coaching calendar will look like, because it will start over. Knowing that our existing model of the college football playoff, because that now enters 2 semesters of football, right? It used to stop by the time the players came back in January, football was over. Well, basically, you go through the Christmas break and teams are still playing. They're having to choose between the transfer portal window, et cetera. So there's recruiting and the playoff and et cetera. Well, at Utah State, the academic calendar starts January 4th. So kids are starting to show up. And so there is no downtime. So put it this way, the calendar has to change. It will change, but the first step that has to fall will be the transfer portal window. There's thought now of moving more games to week 0, which is great. But if the college football playoff expands, that means playing later, possibly into January. I would propose just the opposite, of starting earlier and still work to try to have the college football done as soon as possible. And that will reflect a January and a cleaner start for everyone else. So there's trade-offs everywhere, and there's flaws in that model as well. To Hans's point of June, that's just a small reflection of the existing calendar as it is, as we try to morph it into what it has never been. And the transfer portal window, once that's decided, I think you'll see changes around everything else. Long answer.
Coach Bronco Mendenhall joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I may have misquoted you, but what's your total number of new players?
87.
87. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I remember talking.
And that's unbelievable.
Yeah. So to qualify, that's including missionaries returning, and because they're returning to a new staff, right? Or missionaries that went out of high school that haven't been yet. The freshman class that's coming in, right? That the previous staff signed some of them, and we've signed some. Then the transfers coming in. So, and the kids that came with me to New Mexico. So the roster size, as you guys know, is 105 by definition. You have DSAs that you can count, and so some will have a roster size of more than 105. But if you just said ours most likely is 110 or 19, right? 87, a percentage of 87 to 109 is still the majority of your roster, which is an amazing challenge.
People would think that an NFL roster turns over. It's nothing like a college roster anymore.
Yeah.
NFL rosters don't turn like college rosters.
That's exactly right. And so the reality, and I think it's more of a reality, especially because of a first-year coach coming in, but I think it's pretty typical to be anywhere between 45 and 65, and it'd be fun to just hear what each coach, what the roster turnover is like. But at the group of 6 level now, the financial differences between that and A4 are the primary driver. And so that in and of itself, I think it's here to stay. I would love to mitigate that with Utah high school players and have enough traction there and have enough success here at Utah State over time to where that can just be replenished, and then the portal is minimized, and then the stability of the roster becomes. And that's good. So you have to have enough early success while building that to eventually you can have the transition and then keep maintaining and growing.
I remember talking to you last year, and you threw out, I can't remember what the number was at New Mexico.
63.
63, and that seemed like a crazy
Huge.
number.
There was over
20 that.
There was over 30 there after spring practice. That was the biggest difference.
Oh, okay.
And so I thought that was an astounding number. Utah State, this number is bigger, but it doesn't feel as big. And I think it's maybe because of the maturity of the players, the environment we're in, the expectations. These kids they're committed and they're mature, and they don't feel like transfers. It feels they came maybe knowing more about me, the expectations, or being drawn to the approach. So it hasn't seemed as difficult to onboard. And so it hasn't felt like 87, even though that's the number.
Well, that's one of my questions, too, is, you get everybody together, and you do run high expectations, and you run a really tough camp, and you run a tough spring. Did you have less fallout than you thought?
We did, and I think there's two reasons for it. The vetting we did on the front end, but also the amount of communication we had with the existing roster at Utah State once we arrived. We spent 4 days, my staff, just evaluating the current roster on film, looking through their academics, their social conduct, anything else, right? And then advising them as quick as possible. We think you'll fit. We think you'll struggle. Not one being said you can't come, but this is the advice. So I think besides those who had already entered the portal before I was even named, right? And there's always some of that. Some once I was named entered, and then others after those conversations chose. Usually about a third of the team leaves after the first off-season any place that I coach. BYU they did, Virginia, New Mexico. So about a third usually after seeing the expectations are like, no, this isn't for us.
A third.
About a third.
Ooh, that's a high amount.
That number here was about about 2/3 of that because of the front-end work we did. So the lowest probably turnover I've had in going through the off-season was here. And so some of it was preparation work, but the kids in general, man, they're resilient and they're tough and they're gritty and they're.
Well, that's what you want.
I was more surprised than I expected to be by the number that just battled through it because it's difficult.
You know, in talking to Gabe Iniguez and Bryson yesterday, by the way, great representatives of Utah State.
Yeah, both.
And I thought, and I brought this up with them, I kept hearing word coming out of camp in spring ball that it was, frankly, hell is what it was described to me as. And so part of me was thinking, what's that spring transfer portal going to look like? And they said, after we went through that and talking to their teammates, after we went through that, the hardest thing physically they've ever done, they're like, we're not going anywhere. We just went through this, and it brought the team together. Where people on the outside might think that may work against you, in reality, it worked for you.
It's really interesting. I've done the research on this, and certainly you have to be sincere and authentic, but many are afraid the expectations will drive away, and that is true on initial entry point. However, once the initial entry point is surpassed, doing hard things together, the military's masters of this, and special forces especially, the harder things they do, the more it galvanizes relationships, the more it solidifies the investment after the initial who's in and who's out. And so my approach really is the harder the better. That doesn't mean not relevant, but the harder the better, and those relationships and that identity is forged faster, and we're under the clock. But the meaningful experience that they get because of what's being asked, they're investing everything they have, and it's really fun to see.
So I've got a son who's committed to you.
Yes, you do.
And he's down serving.
Mission, which is awesome.
Teaching the gospel to Navajo
awesome.
Nation in the Four Corners.
He'll be totally prepared when he comes back.
Chopping wood.
Yeah.
What advice do you give to missionaries that go out? Because I'm sure you still recruit a lot of those. And by the way, Coach Akatelli, that's an amazing hire. I'm just telling you, awesome. that is an amazing hire.
He's awesome. And so the missionary service for anyone listening is I absolutely recommend and believe that it will enhance every part, including the athletic part of a young person's life. When I was at BYU, we got as high as 85% of my roster were return missionaries.
85.
Mm-hmm. And I believe, right, that service and what it helps those kids become and who it helps them become by the hard things and by them truly understanding what they believe and getting out of their comfort zone and just, man, what a battle. Who they are on a roster or in a family or etc., those experiences are there forever. And so that's still going to be a huge part of the Utah State program. And in terms of their physical preparation, if they follow the rules of their mission, it'll always work out. It takes about a year, and it will always work out. They'll be better than they've ever been. We have a young man that's just coming back. There's parasites, and there's weight loss, and there's weight gain, and there's all kinds of stuff, and hair loss. I mean, anything you can imagine, right?
Yeah, I went through that.
And girlfriend loss, right? Yeah. It all works out, and after about a year, it's just they're people, and they're performing in a way they could have never done, and so I think it's awesome.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
When we were talking to Bryson yesterday, it's just like, this is a Bronco guy. Because he's
I'm so lucky.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good kid, he's tough, and he's got a little edge to him. And
that does not sound familiar.
No, not at all.
I don't know.
This guy screams Bronco. Like you couldn't have asked for a better situation there.
If I went out and just tried to pick someone to be our quarterback or the leader of the team, I couldn't have picked better. He's amazing. In fact, I'm considering the idea of only having pig farmers as my quarterback in the future. I don't know how big a pool that is, so it's early in the sample.
Tap into Scotty. That's his family's.
That's my family's background.
Yeah. So not only do we need a great Division I athlete, but if there's not pigs, or I'm going to expand it to agriculture. But
there you go.
That gives me a bigger sample size. But I love. He's great.
Puts new term to the farm system, I guess.
Yeah. And where better than Utah
exactly.
State, right?
How are he and McGiven melding?
It's awesome. So I think that. So by the way, Coach McGiven, much like you feel about Coach Acatelli, I feel the same about Kevin. He might be the best person that I've met in the coaching profession. I mean, he is exceptional. But then in terms of innovation, creativity, usage of personnel, I don't even have to go in the room. I mean, I have complete trust in what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. The players, I think, feel the same. And I love the idea of maximizing resources, right? And so whoever we have, putting in position to do what they can do at the highest level. And Bryson gives us lots of options that way, but Kevin also creates lots of options, Coach McGiven. So I like that matchup a lot.
We talked to Coach Ken from San Jose State, Niamalololo, and we were talking about his son who's on your staff, and he said, I was hesitant letting him get into the profession because there's so many bad characters out there, and there's a lot of good guys and there's a lot of bad guys, and you never know who he's going to end up working with. But having him on Bronco's staff and having you as a mentor put him a lot at ease. What does that feel like as a guardian of not just young men as players, but also the next generation of coaches?
It's one of the coolest reasons. So I love the development of young people. I consider my staff the same. They're all my former players. And so Ali'i is not a former player, but I coached his brother Va'a at BYU, and I've obviously known Kenny. And so I was sitting next to Coach Niamalololo in the head coaches meeting yesterday, and I got a text from Ali'i, which one of his players was late for something, and he was already on him, and he's, we have a protocol for that, so he's up this morning early. And anyway, I was just showing the text to Kenny that his son was on it, communicating to me as the head coach how he communicated, how professionally, how timely. And it was just like a proud father moment. Even though it's from a different program, he could see what his son was doing, and it was
That's great.
It was really fun.
Yeah. That's great. You went to great lengths to keep camp and keep spring isolated and keep things quiet. Is that
they're taking down the barbed wire now?
Yeah,
they're de-installing it. Right.
It wasn't even barbed; it was razor.
Yeah, razor.
It was the wound razor. On top of the fence, but
the moat was a little harder to pull off.
The moat with the gators.
The city didn't like the trenching
and dug all the way around Maverick Stadium.
Yeah.
Is this a model you're going to implement and keep?
As long as there is a transfer portal window that exists post-spring.
Yeah.
If that goes away, no. If there's still a chance after spring practice for players to leave, then yes. And so it's not just tampering and poaching. I mean, you just call it how it's player acquisition, because there's no governance that's influencing it. And so before we played, it just made no sense to me for anyone to know who we had. And I recognize the trade-off for community engagement and support and media and et cetera. And so fall camp, there will be opportunities for, much like spring used to be, for people to come see scrimmage and different things. And so they're trying to make up for it somewhat within reason. But as long as the second window is post-spring practice, then I think as a steward of the program, I have to do that.
Everybody understands that.
I hope.
Oh yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
No, we obviously we do a daily show, and we want the information and we like the information, but the only thing Scotty and I can do is sit there and go, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, why have that portal open? And if we had an asset that dictated our job, we are going to protect that asset.
And so it's the next kind of, and I'm kind of gauging this as well. So we open against UTEP, and they're not certain what schemes or what people we have. And so the more fall camp is open, and people want to come and see, and I would like them to. So there's still some level of risk, right, by any interaction that folks have before we play. So there's an advantage when you're a new staff that no one really knows who you have and what you're going to do until you play.
It's a huge advantage,
I think, right? And so still in fall camp-ish, there's opportunities, Now, what that truly looks like, I'm trying to balance enough engagement to make sure our community knows, yeah, I want connection, but also understand the more that happens, we could actually be giving away our best chance to have the outcomes we want early in the season, especially.
I know you've got other obligations really quickly, though. Once again, Utah State's on the search for a new athletic director.
Yeah.
You're so busy with everything going on with the season starting. Do you want to give your input on that, or do you just keep your head down and focus on your job? How does that go?
So the way it's gone so far is so key influencers, boosters, as well as the board, and I've visited with our interim president as well, and so they've asked for my opinion on what qualities, what traits. I have not gone to names yet. I will if asked, or if I feel so strongly it's like we have to look at. But what I think Utah State needs and is craving in the short time I've been there, man, stability, consistency with competency and ability to connect. So Utah State at the AD level and the president level, someone that's fiercely capable and competent, but man, if there's Utah State ties that could be consistent and embedded, as well as approachable and connectable with amazing skills, if you hit the right two people at the AD and president spot that are that, man, what a and joining the Pac-12, it could be an amazing growth period for Utah State. And so I basically have just shared that, and so it's nothing top secret, and I think it's possible. I totally do, and I think it's really cool.
All right, Coach, appreciate
Thank you.
it. Looking forward to working with you more.
Thanks, Coach.
There he is, the head coach of the Utah State Aggies, Bronco Mendenhall, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.